Leader of the Gambia Moral Congress links the condition of quarantine centers with that of prisons in the country. China's medical personnel arrived in Zimbabwe to support the fight against COVID-19. Tunisia allows more businesses to reopen as COVID-19 cases goes down. This and more coming on The World Today. Hello, this is Africa TV. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. Leader of the Gambia Moral Congress exposed the condition of quarantine centers in the Gambia, saying it is synonymous to what obtains in prison cells. Mai Ahmad Fati made these revelations based on experience during a press conference at the party's headquarters along the Carava Avenue on Wednesday. He described the quarantine centers as enhanced prisons with only one meal served per day. While under quarantine, Mr. Fati said he couldn't find a single face mask, let alone other basic needs such as access to change clothes throughout the period.
Something has to be done. So if we don't look at the quarantine system, it is going to collapse because people will just rebel and get out of the system. And it almost happened. I witnessed a situation where a number of young people, we are going to round up themselves and say, look, we are getting out of here. We are getting out of here because it is not acceptable. So I can understand a member of parliament before who complained that the murder was not being properly cared for. Because I have seen young people who are saying, we are getting out of here. I am here, this is my 9 days, the same clothes, in and out. It's not acceptable. So we want quarantine people, we have to provide facilities for them.
Mai Ahmad Fati, leader of the Gambia Moral Congress, speaking there, and we will bring you more details of that in our subsequent news editions. Now, the Health Ministry on Wednesday received medical equipment from the Chinese embassy meant to support the effort to suppress the spread of the coronavirus. China had initially boosted the medical sector with COVID-19 medical items in 2 separate occasions. Our authorities commended China for the gesture with hope that the items will do the job. Let's have more details of that in this report.
The Chinese embassy to the Gambia on Wednesday donated personal protective equipment to the Ministry of Health geared towards helping the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. The donated items include face masks, gloves, safety goggles, and forehead thermometers. The Chinese ambassador to the Gambia, Ma Jun-chun, observed that the performance of the Gambia in the fight against COVID-19 has been fairly recommended, partly thanks to the backing of China.
China would continue to provide support to the Gambia, sharing our experience and joining hands with the Gambia to work towards building a community of a shared public health security. I have full confidence that the Gambian people will defeat COVID-19 and win the final victory of this war.
He advised that the people should adhere to the principle of fighting the disease with science and make no attempt in politicizing the pandemic. The Gambia's Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Samate, said COVID-19 is a serious concern for the frontline health workers, so that their protection is very important to the ministry. He described the virus as a global challenge which compelled the health system to be on its heels to protect the people.
We realize that people do not shake hands anymore, which is one of the points that have been advocated. That means people have heeded to the advice. However, there are still a lot of things pending. One of them is the social distancing.
He warned against the effect of stigma associated with the disease, among which he said could lead to abandonment of public visit to the health facilities, even for their own health care.
We should be mindful. These people are also human beings, only that they happen to be infected and they got sick. But that doesn't make them less human. They deserve compassion from all of us. And so a few weeks ago, if anyone had told these people that they were going to be infected or they are infected, they wouldn't believe it. and today they are affected or infected. I don't think any of us knows who the next person is going to be who will have their kind of experience. So even for that reason alone, we should not stigmatize.
The number of confirmed cases in the Gambia in a period of 2 months has gone to 23, out of which 13 are active cases under treatment. The Africa Center for Disease Control observed a rapid growth of cases of the coronavirus in Africa, mainly due to the easing of measures meant to suppress the spread of the coronavirus. As of this week, Africa is battling with 6,000 cases of the COVID-19. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Absegay.
China extends another support to the Gambia as part of efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19. And from that report, next we head to Tunis, where many businesses are now allowed to resume operations as the number of the coronavirus cases goes down in the country. The country's lockdown, as part of measures to stem the spread of the virus, largely affected businesses, but hopes are still high that normal activities will help the regeneration's process. Health officials have warned against complacency in dealing with the measures. Here is more details of that.
Rafiqa owns a shoes and bags shop in downtown Tunis. She's happy to reopen her business after losing what she says is over 40% of her annual revenue in just 8 weeks. The manager and her employees have respected the strict sanitary measures put in place by the state.
We've been through difficult times that we need to overcome. We are using face masks and hand sanitizers in the boutique. We don't accept any client who does not comply with the safety measures.
I am lucky because my manager paid my salary for the last 2 months, but I know many people who did not make a living during the whole lockdown period.
The number of shoppers has been limited. Many people still fear infection despite the decline in the number of new coronavirus cases in the country.
I've come on the first day of the easing of restrictions on shops to buy new clothes and shoes for my kids. I want to avoid congestion and any physical contact with other shoppers.
Muhammad is a 39-year-old barber. He had to pay his rent and bills during the lockdown, even as his shop remained closed.
The state had promised to give us financial assistance while we were unemployed. It's an empty promise, though I'm glad to reopen my shop and to see my clients. I have to rely on myself because the state has other priorities.
Over 500,000 people have been allowed to resume either partial or normal activity from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the second week of the targeted healthy confinement. According to the COVID-19 task force, Tunisians working in the deconfined sectors must comply with the safety measures as defined by the Institute of Health and Safety, which imposes wearing face masks, social distancing, and using hand sanitizers throughout the day.
And from the report there in Tunisia, we come back home because authorities in the Gambia have begun the application of legal measures to ensure compliance with emergency restrictions as a result of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Police in the North Bank, part of the country, affected arrests on a group of West African migrants who sneak into the country through a sea despite the closure of borders. Similarly, a magistrate's court has condemned the inflation of prices of food commodities with court fines. Here's more details of that.
The increasing trend of COVID-19 cases in the Gambia is dictating the use of legal avenues to control further spread of the virus. The country has since March 17 confirmed 23 positive cases of the coronavirus global pandemic, of which 13 are active under treatment. Government shut all borders about 2 months ago, leading to a shift from what appeared as importation of cases mainly from Europe to concentration on domestic case management. In the face of difficulty in the affairs of land borders with neighboring Senegal, the police and marine officers are on alert to minimize the influx of potential cases from the sub-region. On the border control matters, police in the North Bank region arrested 3 out of 6 men who had sneaked into the country through the sea on the pretext that they were fishermen. Acting Director of Health Services, Dr. Mustafa Bitey, on Tuesday announced the enrollment of these men for compulsory quarantine.
Whereas 3 Senegalese were intercepted and arrested at sea, another 3 escaped. They were later arrested by personnel of Jeffrey Police and Immigration Department.
Of the 13 cases of the coronavirus under treatment, 5 were identified on the counts or recent travel from neighboring Senegal. The latest was recorded on Tuesday on a man who had been on quarantine.
1 new laboratory confirmed case has been recorded, bringing the total number of cases ever confirmed in the country to 23. The newly confirmed case has been in quarantine on account of having a recent travel history to Senegal. He tested negative for COVID-19 at the beginning of his quarantine stay, which was on the 2nd of May 2020. A repeat test at the end of the quarantine period returned positive on the 11th of May 2020. Out of the 79 laboratory test results received, 71 are results of samples taken from new people, and 8 are repeat test results. Results of all 71 people tested for the first time returned negative for COVID-19.
On a similar venture, 2 businessmen were convicted to price hiking and fined the sum of $50,000 in default to serve 1 year imprisonment by the Kanifing Magistrate Court.
The Kanifing Magistrate Court found 2 businessmen guilty of price hiking and were each fined $50,000 and in default to serve 1 year imprisonment. The 2 were arrested on the 10th April 2020 for allegedly hiking price of food commodities in Kanifing municipality.
As of this Monday, 84 people are under quarantine, while 3 tested results remain probable cases. 739 contacts have been traced. More than 300 people have completed the follow-up by health officials. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Aminata Job.
That report there by Aminata Job will take us to the break, and of course we'll be right back with more details. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the stories. The National Assembly will on Friday begin its second extraordinary session, during which it will consider possible extension of the state of public emergency, which is due to elapse next week Tuesday. In April, the lawmaking body extended the initial 21-day state of public emergency for additional 45 days. That ushered in some restrictions in the fields of transport and commerce. During the extraordinary sessions, the parliamentarians will also consider the revised estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2020, as well as the supplementary appropriation bill, according to a media release from the National Assembly. General and Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs is expected to table the aforesaid businesses respectively for the consideration of the National Assembly. And from that, next we move on, because China has sent a team of medical experts to help in the fight against the COVID-19 global pandemic in Zimbabwe. The South African country registered limited number of cases so far, but the medical team is expected to share expertise with their counterparts to deal with the virus should the number of cases increase. Authorities have welcomed China's gesture, saying it will further boost the existing cordial relationship between the two countries. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Not only are they here to help Zimbabwe scale up its preparedness for COVID-19, but these 12 medical experts are also reinforcing a 4-decade-long diplomatic relationship and proving that indeed China is Zimbabwe's all-weather friend. The doctors from Hunan province arrived in Harare on Monday and will be here for the next 14 days.
Our Chinese medical expert team are here not only to share our experience, to exchange ideas with the Zimbabwean brothers and sisters, but also to convey our unimpeded strong friendship.
Zimbabwe hailed the historic trip.
We are getting the gift of the human being with the expertise that they are bringing, and this is the first in our endeavor to fight the pandemic, that a country is bringing their experts, and those experts will interact with the experts from Zimbabwe. And I think by the time they leave, we will have more insights, we will have more things to learn, and it can only assist us in our strategy to combat COVID-19.
The medical team brought tons of personal protective equipment, test kits and medicines in tow. The crucial supplies will equip isolation centers across the country, ramp up national testing, as well as restock health facilities. Despite having a low number of confirmed COVID-19 cases, Zimbabwe is, with help from China, preparing to deal with an escalation should it arise. In March, the Chinese community in Zimbabwe coordinated a $500,000 upgrade of the main isolation center in Harare, which can now accommodate 60 patients, including 10 in the intensive care unit, which it didn't have previously.
From that report there in Harare, Zimbabwe, next we head to Ivory Coast because operators of the public transport in Cote d'Ivoire are affected by more than ever due to the COVID-19 global pandemic as the government reduces the number of passengers in vehicles. Authorities say the move is part of measures to control the spread of the virus as the country registered over 1,000 COVID-19 cases so far. Some drivers and commuters anticipated a reduction in the price of fuels. Here is more details of that in this report.
2 instead of 3 is the number of passengers now allowed in the back of each taxi in Cote d'Ivoire, after government directed them to reduce the number of passengers they can carry on each trip in efforts to control the spread of the coronavirus. Taxi operators across Cote d'Ivoire are feeling the pinch. Many have lost a considerable amount of their daily income.
We used to take 3 passengers in the back and 1 in the front. Today we're limited to 2 passengers in the back and 1 in front. So that makes a total of 3 passengers instead of 4, and the fares have not even changed. It's really difficult. We were hoping that the government would lower the price of fuel to support us, but nothing has been done. Today, the daily income, which was fixed at $23, has gone down to $13. With this decrease, we are not able to feed our families on a daily basis. Really, it's very difficult.
Because of the measures to fight against the coronavirus, we can no longer make a profit. It's really not going well at all. It's even very difficult for us. Normally, we should park our cars and stop working. But if we do, how are we going to live?
Since coronavirus is spread mainly through respiratory droplets, especially when people cough or sneeze, maintaining a safe distance is recommended to decrease transmission. But due to a lack of space, drivers in Cote d'Ivoire have become more selective to their passengers.
Now when you bring your child here to the taxi station, the drivers will not take you just because there's a problem of space. In order to comply with the new measures, drivers give priority to passengers who do not have children, and for those who have children, it is very complicated now to get around.
The West African country has also imposed a dusk till dawn curfew, which has contributed to the scarcity of passengers. With over 1,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, it's unlikely that Côte d'Ivoire will soon ease some of its preventative measures on public transport. The taxi operators have to brace themselves for tougher times.
That report there in Côte d'Ivoire finally brings this news bulletin to an end. But for more details of this and other stories, you can also look on our website on iafrica.tv. Many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Have your say.
Fellow Gambians, my government has approved a $500 million emergency fund, which the Ministries of Health and Finance will work on for disbursement and use to fight COVID-19 menace.
xaalis bi tege yomb na waaye xam lu jafe mooy séddale bi niñ ko séddalee ak ndax danañ ko jox ñi ko yeeyoo wala duñ leen ko jox loolu moo jara laajte.
cos loo xam ne la nit yee tax ñu joxe ko te nit ñi ñoo leen fa teg te xaalis nit yi la comme xaalis population bi la wax dëgg yàlla li gënoon mooy ku nekk gis sa boppa
man su ma sañoon daal ñu séddoo ko nu mu waroo buñ si def xaaj loo ñii diw nañ ko si ku nekk loo war a am nga am ko.
askan bi seen dem ak dikk bu ñu wàññee mu jël ko def ko si loolu noonu participer ko si loolu noonu ba nga xam ne danañ mën a ànd ak moom si wàññi suñ dem ak suñ dikk.
génne leen xaalis bi nañ ko génne